In this video, we'll be using the macro record capability of SimXpert to create a simulation template. The procedure we're going to use in the video will be as follows. We'll start macro recording. We'll exercise various recordable commands in SimXpert, such as importing bracket geometry, creating material and property, meshing the part, applying constraint and load, and then we'll stop recording. We'll then review the saved template in Template Builder workspace and add an action and a connection. Finally, we'll run it again with different mesh size and observe the effects. For this example, we'll be using the Structures workspace of SimXpert. Macro recording can be found on the Tools menu. Select Tools, Macro, Record New Macro. In the dialog, enter the name for your new macro and select whether or not you want the current unit system to be recorded. Select OK. A small control panel appears. You may temporarily suspend recording at any time by clicking the pause button. You can continue to exercise SimXpert commands, but they will not be recorded. Click the pause button again to resume recording. When you're finished, click the stop button. Recordable commands are indicated by a red dot on top of the icon. You may also notice on the menus REC appearing after the name of the command, indicating it's recordable. The first thing we're going to do is import a parasolid geometry. Let's mesh the part. From the Meshing tool ribbon, select Surface Mesher, select All Surfaces, change the mesh size, and click OK. Let's equivalence the nodes. From the Nodes and Elements menu, select Equivalence, select all nodes to equivalence, and OK. Now let's create some RBE2 elements in each of the 4 holes. From the Assemble menu, select RBE2. Select the mid location for the independent node. And for dependent nodes, we're going to use contiguous auto picking from the Advanced Picking menu. Select one node at the edge of the hole and all will be selected. Click Apply to create the first set of rigid elements. Repeat that procedure on the other 3 holes. Now we'll create a fixed constraint on the 2 inside holes, selecting the center node of each. Now we'll create a force on the other 2 holes. First selecting the hole locations, changing the magnitude, and changing the direction. You can use the detailed rendering to view your markers at all force and constraint locations. Let's create an isotropic material from the Materials and Properties ribbon, entering a description, Young's modulus, and Poisson's ratio, then clicking OK. Now we'll create a 2D shell property. From the model browser, we can select our part as a pick entity, and we can also select our material from the model browser. Let's enter a part thickness and click OK. Click the stop button to finish recording our macro. Notice at the bottom of the screen you have the file path and extension PROC indicating that a template file has been saved. A recorded macro can be run from the Tools menu by selecting Macro. You can also use the template execution environment. From the Templates tool ribbon, select Browse to locate your file. By default, it's located in the SimX installation folder, Process Recorded. Select your file and open. The template execution window opens. Now we're clearing the database and visiting the options and turning off the prompting. Let's run the template. All the recorded commands are executed just as they were recorded. Upon completion, an execution report appears, which you can review and then close. Let's switch over to the Template Builder workspace so we can edit our recorded macro. In Template Builder, we'll use the Browse icon to locate our bracket.proc file in the Recorded folder. You can see the flow chart of the template in the center area of the screen, and the tree view of it on the left. Double-clicking on the template name, you can open the Template Properties dialog box. This is a 4-page panel in which you can switch between pages by clicking the left-hand icons. Let's change the name of the file, which will effectively do a Save As. We'll also change the label so that it will appear differently in the workspace. Switching over to the Publish sheet, we can change the path in which the file will be saved. We can also designate a default workspace to execute the template. Let's insert an action to clear the database at the beginning of each template execution. From the Actions toolbox, select App Frame, File, and New. Click in the location to place the action. Now we're going to connect it from Controls, Connection, click on the source action, and then the destination. Double-click on the Surface Mesher icon to open its properties. It's a 3-page form. On the Properties sheet, let's change the display to a graphic snapshot. On the Inputs page, let's change the mesh density. You can see the icon is changed in the graphics window. We'll see in a minute how that works. Let's save the template. Then we're going to switch back over to the Structures workspace to test it. From the Templates tool ribbon, click Browse and locate our bracket aaa.proc file. The template execution window opens. In the template execution window, let's visit the Options panel again. We'll turn on the flowchart view, which appears just to the right of the tree view. Let's also turn on the Prompt for Inputs option, since we made some changes to the template and we want to verify all the selections before proceeding from one action to the next. Let's go ahead and run the template by clicking the Run button. And we don't need to worry about clearing the database because, as you can see, that first action took care of that for us. Since we have the prompting turned on, we're seeing the dialog boxes for each action appearing. And we're watching the screen to make sure that the proper selections are being made and they are populated based on our entries when we recorded the macro. Notice the Surface Mesher icon, which is now a graphic snapshot. We can resize it, move it, and even access the View Manipulation commands by right-clicking so that we can pan, zoom, and rotate. Continuing on, we'll watch the graphics window to make sure that in each action the appropriate selections are being highlighted and we have the opportunity to confirm or reject and reselect those. So we're creating the RBTE2 elements at each hole, followed by the fixed constraints at the center holes and the forces on the 2 outer holes. We'll review and confirm the isotropic material and shell property selections in the dialog boxes. Then we receive a successful execution report. We can also review the status of each individual action in the tree, showing success for each in this case. In this video, we've learned how to record a macro using standard SimXpert commands, how to replay the macro, how to edit it in the Template Builder workspace, and how to use the template execution environment.